Hi, this is Greg down in Pensacola, Florida. I'd like to welcome you to the launch of our next Hirst project. As discussed in my welcome back video, we're going to do the modular in, and this project is right on the Hirst page. It's going to involve the use of 6 molds, 57, 58, 59, 221, 701, and 75. I have done demoldings on every one of these molds, so if you'd like to see what the pieces look like as they come out, you can go to my demolding series and you'll be able to see each mold individually. So what we've done to prepare, I've got 150 pounds of Merlin's Magic. Running low on this Almore's debubblizer surfactant. I think my next order, when I order this stuff, I got enough to get through a majority of this project. But the people that make Merlin's Magic also make their own surfactant now. So I'm going to order a bottle that it's a whole lot easier to get than this Almore's right now. I'm having a hard time finding it, and then you need to have dental credentials to get some of this stuff on there, and so I want something that's easy to order that everybody can get their hands on. And but when I get that, I'll show it to you, shoot a quick video on it, and then I'm going to use it into projects from here out. So what we've got going on here is we're on Hirst's page. I've got it up here on my tablet. We're right on the in-building instructions, page 1. And the first thing we want to look at is how many times we're going to have to cast all these molds. So molds 58 and 59, we're going to cast 6 times each. I've already cast them. I've cast them 7 times to give me an extra cast of each one. I normally do that on the project. I did that with the Space Corridor System 2. Cast just a few more over than what I need, because sometimes you look at the plans, like with the Space Corridor, I had a bunch of extra floor tiles, so I decided to make a monster room on that. And having the extra tiles there helps, because you can kind of make the project a little bit of your own. We're going to cast mold 57 16 times, and then 221, 75, and 701 28 times each. So I've cast each one of these 6 times, so I am done with mold 58 and 59. So today I'm going to work on casting. I'm going to cast at least 4 more sets of each, maybe 5 before I go to bed. That should fill up the dehydrator tonight, and then I'll start casting again tomorrow. And so hopefully it seems pretty realistic that by next Friday or Saturday I'll be done with casting and have all the blocks dried, ready to start some assembly. Casting so far has gone good. I've gotten the brand new boxes of Merlin's Magic, so they've gone in well. The pieces have been pulling out really nice. The dehydrator, I'll show you the dehydrator in a minute. I'll show you my setup that I'm doing now compared to when I was doing the descent molds on there. But that dehydrator, I'll show you the brand name. Go to Amazon, get one. If you're serious about doing some of the casting stuff, it's a time saver. I swear, 4 to 6 hours, I'm done. I could pull them out, fill it back up, and do it again. So if you're around on a weekend, you load that thing up in the morning, you can unload it by dinner, start casting again, let it dehydrate overnight, and you're going to have another set of blocks. Because what I used to do is let them sit on paper towels on top of cookie racks, and normally I would let them sit 48 hours. So when time is important, and casting is the longest part of this whole thing. When you're looking at, you've got to cast 28 castings of 3 different molds on there. You want to get through that as rapidly as possible. So some people have some great storage solutions that they can just do weekends worth of casting and just set that stuff aside. I've got some storage solutions. I'm going to work on a bigger one here coming up, but for right now, I got a cast per project and then just kind of organize it into boxes. So, but if you look down at the precautions, Mr. Hirst, he's recommending using a dental stone, which I'll recommend too. I'll recommend Merlin's Magic all day long on there. I've used the Excalibur. The Excalibur, that's an 18,000 PSI dental plaster, where the Merlin's is a 15,000. It's a little different. It doesn't mix the same. It doesn't pour the same, but that stuff is rock hard. I mean, it sounds like a porcelain glass, when that stuff is done, but it mixes a little different. I prefer using the Merlin's Magic, but both those products are quality products. And if you go to the Dental Stone page on Bruce's site, if you go to the Hirstarts.com, he's going to have a whole section on where people like me have recommended different casting materials, because the biggest part of this stuff is heavy. So getting it shipped, if you don't have a local place to pick it up, it's the shipping that kills you on this stuff. So Some people are using dye stone, I believe it is. I was reading some other products that are on the people that make Merlin's Magic on their website yesterday, you know, different products that they're making, but it's all heavy. So the biggest problem or the biggest hurdle is getting a quality product shipped in a big enough amount that it doesn't kill you in shipping. So he recommends a surfactant debubbleizer, and I do too, because you won't see a vibration table on my table anymore. I don't pour into it. I really haven't seen the need to. And he talks about the vibrating table. I still have the vibrating table, but I don't hardly ever use it anymore. So the layout basics, this plan, what you see right there is what we're going to make. We got some different hallways, some smaller rooms, some bigger rooms on there. The two different types of stairs. There's going to be some inside pillars that you see right over here, and some outside pillars that have the foam core underneath them. So 4 basic rooms, the hallways. These are going to be the wall ends and the blockers, and he goes through to discuss that. We're going to base on foam core. I did order some from Amazon. It was a halfway decent deal on there. I do use black foam core. I don't use any other color but black. So when I do paint it, it'll paint gray, you know, if it needs to. The rooms, he talks about the doorway, about placing them in every other square, and don't put them on the corner squares. So that's like this right here. This just helps with the lineup on there. So this is the first time I've built something like this. I know the modular dungeon had some rules for how you build the stuff for like that gothic dungeon that we're going to do later on. But for right now, we're going to do exactly what he says right here. The hallway pieces, you'll see that the hallway pieces fill in between the rooms. And then here's a couple different layouts based on the stuff that we're going to build on this project. So you can enclose all the hallways, and then you'll see these openings like right here, and that's what those endway blockers and stuff like that are for. So these wall ends and doorway blockers, if you look right here, and then let's look at this picture that he's got right here. So you see he's put this together. He's got the hallway. He's got an opening here. He's got a little opening there and on the end. And then if you look at these pieces that were right up here, he's filled them all in. So he's got the doorway. He put a fireplace here, another fireplace there. He's got just a normal window end right here, and then there's something else down here, at that end that he's putting in there. So that's a really good use of these pieces right here to enclose in your inn. The pillars, this is the outside pillar, the inside pillar, and the size of each, because you can choose your placement for. Hey, we just lost power, and now I'm back. So, this is an upstairs that you can mount it over top of the inside of your inn, or you can do it on the outside of the inn, or you can do it on the inside of the inn. So the actual building instructions are going to be on page 2 itself. So the assembling the rooms, he's going to tell you how many times to cast again, and things you need to know about mold 75. So this is kind of the part where I need to cast to this week so I can get all this stuff cast, and then we're going to start right on mold 75, and we're going to divide these up into the arches, the ruined floors, and the blocks. He goes, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking and making extra fieldstone blocks out of the ruined blocks. So right here's the instructions. Yeah, we're going to be doing the arches. So we've got 2-inch, 1 inch and a half, different types of 1-inch blocks and half-inch blocks, 2.5 arch, 2-inch arch, 1.5, and 2 1-inch. And then the ruined floor tiles, there's these cracked floor tiles that look like they're 2 pieces each right here. We're going to glue them together. And so all this stuff from mold 75, we're going to put together before we start any assembly. So after the casting's done, this will be the next step right here. And the arches. And then we'll start right on the great room. And this will be our first thing. So hopefully I'm able to shoot some of this coming up next weekend. So, all right, now I'm going to show you a little bit about what we got going on my table. Oops. See if I break my light. Mold 57. This is the one we got to cast 16 times. So I've got 6 castings of it, so I need 10 more. This is mold 701. Mold 75. And 221. So that's the floor mold. And so with right here, I think it was 22 times each. We gotta cast these, so they're ready to go. All right, so if we take a look at my table, I'm gonna see if I can do this with a tripod here. All right. So these are the trays I cast on. These are just your old standard lunchroom tray, but I cast on top of these and I scrape on top of these, so all my mess is in these trays. And then this stuff right here, it just scrapes right off. And, you know, it's like a powder when it's done, and it scrapes right off. I've got a container of wet water. I put a couple drops of rinse aid in there to some filtered water. And I use the filtered water that comes out of it's right there on the sink, so I use it that comes off the tap. And I will put my molds into here as I prepare them. So I'll drop that one in. And what I'll do is I'll drop these in here. And I do this between every casting. I'll sit there and I will drop these in the water just so it gets some of that solution on there. My scraper, I don't know why I keep this thing. This thing is 3 years old now, almost 3.5. It is rusty. It is nasty. I need to go down to Lowe's or Home Depot or somewhere and get another scraper that's plastic. I do use this side of it. This side is still good. I try not to scrape on the rusty side. So I like the metal scraper. I'm going to see if they got I'm going to maybe try and buy one of the $2 plastic ones to see how that works. But I do like the metal one, so I'll probably pick up another metal one also. 6-inch scraper though. I've got a plastic one that's bigger, that's like a 9-inch. It gets in the way when I cast on top of these. Because with these trays, what I do is I set the molds like this. So I set them in a tray like that, and I pour in there, and then I scrape across them. And when you're scraping across them, everything you're doing is falling right here on the tray. My dehydrator. I love this thing. It's a Presto dehydrator. It came off Amazon. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different trays on it. Now, one thing about the dehydrator, let me see if I can stand up and grab one of these. Yep. What I did buy for this, which has helped out immensely, because when you get the normal dehydrator, it's going to look like this. Those holes are pretty big. I buy the jelly roll inserts, and I put them on here. All those pieces fit on there fine. Even the smaller in-accessory molds like this, all these little pieces, they'll sit right on top of this. I don't have to worry about them falling through or falling in a different mold. So that's a big tip. If you get a dehydrator, it doesn't matter which one you get on there, but if you got an opportunity to get the jelly roll screens, definitely get those. It's like the fruit roll-up type screens. Oops, I'm gonna... Yep, that was a mess up. All right, so over here is where I've been casting. So I've got 6 casts of mold 57, 58, and 59 in that box, and so they're just kind of separated. One mold's on the left, the other mold's in the middle, the other on the right, and then some smaller pieces right there that came out of the mold on the right. So the easiest way to keep track when you're doing something like this is to get one of the bigger pieces, like this bed, and then you count that, because the number of beds will equal the number of castings that you got. So I kind of keep those bigger ones separated. Over here, there's like some Velveeta boxes, and the 22 castings are all going to go in those boxes there. It'll probably fill them up. Popsicle sticks, because that's what I stir the plaster with. Water. Like I said, I use the filtered water off my sink. And then right here, I've got 8 cups all ready to go, because I'll pour 4 molds, so that'll be 2 cups in a set. And each cup has already been measured out to 285 grams of Merlin's Magic. I'll use 3 ounces of water in each one, and that'll fill 2 molds. And then way over there, I've got a cast-off tray. So any leftover plaster I have, those are Woodland Scenic rock molds. I just pour into there and then use them for terrain. And there's my mixer. That's a smaller mixer than my other one, because I need to keep something permanently set up in here, because I keep dragging my other one to War Machine Wednesdays, and it's a pain setting up and taking down all the time. So here we are. We are ready to go. I'm going to do some casting, and I'll pop back in a little bit later. Thanks. All right, I'm back. We've made some good progress. Been casting about just a little bit over 3 hours right now. And so what I was going to show you was the trays before I put them on the dehydrator. Show you what we got. The first couple trays are a little light because I usually start loading it from the top down. So I could have done a 6th round, but I didn't. I stopped at 5 because I got to do some stuff around the house. But this tray right here, yeah, this is 2 castings. Yeah, this is 2 castings of a mold onto that tray. Then what these trays do is they interlock right on top of each other. So what you're looking at on this tray is you're looking at those stair pieces, the benches and stuff like that. The next tray I'm going to show you, I'm going to move this one out of the way. This is the cast-off pieces that I was working on. So they're right here. It's a big chunk of plaster right here. Yeah, I didn't. This is 10, 12 cups of what was left and stuff. Yeah, just pouring it in there. So just to show you, yeah, you can use your leftover stuff on there and pour it in here. What I was using was the Woodland Scenics rock molds. These are pretty cheap. If you got a model store or any place that sells railway models, they're most likely going to have these. And also Hobby Lobby and Michael's carries them too. If you watch my demolding videos, you'll know what this mold is, and that's all I'll say about that for right now. Now we start getting into the floor mold. Now these molds here are actually pretty full. There's 5 castings of the floor mold on this tray. So it just shows you can load these trays up. It's not going to hurt anything. You see the small pieces. I mean, there's no piece in this mold that's going to fall through on here, but if I don't have to take the little jelly roll inlay out, I don't. This mold, you do need that inlay because there's some small pieces in here. But again, this one's full. You know, so we got a good 5 castings, or we got 4 castings into this tray. That first tray I showed you had 1 or 2 casts in it because there are a lot of pieces on this. So you're going to get anywhere from 3 to 5 castings into each mold. And then here's our field stone. So that's a lot of field stone blocks, and we're going to make a lot more too. And the last one I'll show you is right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stack all these up on the dehydrator. I'm going to turn the dehydrator on, let it run overnight. You know, I'm done for today. When I get home from work tomorrow, I'll clear out the dehydrator, sort them into their bins, and start another set. Maybe do another 4 or 5 sets tomorrow. So on that pace, I'll be done by the time next weekend hits, and then we can start looking at moving into their true first step past the casting of putting this in together. So appreciate you watching the video today. Like the video if you liked it. Favorite it, share it, tweet it, whatever you want to do. There's a whole bunch of different buttons below the video on there. Appreciate you guys sticking in there. Yeah, this is week 1, video number 1. So we got a little bit of a trek to go here, but it feels pretty good. Again, thank you.